Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Puzzle People podcast. Today is episode 1. So, this is the actual, real, humble beginning of this podcast officially. Today, I have with me Madhav Singh, who I have introduced already. If you haven't watched episode 0, go check that out. But here is Madhav. Madhav, say hi.
Hello, I'm Madhav Singh.
Today, Madhav has come up with the topic, which is very interesting, and I find this topic extremely intriguing. Madhav was basically up all of last night, fangirling about this topic. So, Madhav, do you want to introduce the topic to the viewers?
Yeah, I would love to. Today we'll be talking about something that not a lot of cubers um, are exposed to, which is basically the history of speedcubing as it is now, and where it started, how the first world championships were held, and how the WCA came to be.
For reference, the WCA is the World Cube Association.
For reference, I spent a lot of last night just reading through reports from old speed cubers and their reports about how competitions went and all. And I'm sure we'll have references in the description or whatever, like links to the articles.
Yes, you will find
Yeah.
links to all the articles that we reference in the description. So make sure to check those out as well. And yeah, so let's just start with how the Rubik's Cube actually came into existence. This puzzle that has 6 colors, 6 sides, 8 corners, 12 edges, 6 centers, it's a very interesting puzzle. But it had very, very simple beginnings. And one of those beginnings, well, actually the only one, is most attributed to Erno Rubik, who is the inventor of the Rubik's Cube. He was a Hungarian architect, and in 1974, he decided that architecture class was too boring, which, to be fair, I can see why it would be. But he decided that, and he said, okay, to teach my students about three-dimensional space, I will invent a cube. So he didn't invent the shape of a cube, but he definitely did invent the Rubik's Cube. And this is the Rubik's Cube that we know today. But fun fact, he didn't actually know how to solve it when he invented it, which is something that's very similar to Madhav's cube journey.
Damn, I wasn't expecting that random hate coming at me. Yeah, it's true. When Erno Rubik first made the cube, he expected it to be trivial. So there's a report talking about how he thought that he'd be able to solve it immediately, and then he tried and he tried and he tried, and it took him a month to actually come up with the first Rubik's cube solving method, which actually was corners first. So if you're a corners
That is
first
so
solver
weird.
in 2024, you're kind of the best. Um,
True. Most optimal, objectively
yeah,
optimal, corners
of
first.
course.
For those of you that aren't aware, the most popular method in today's day and age is called CFOP, which is basically cross F2L, OLL, and PLL. Basically, you solve the cube layer by layer, and you solve the first 2 layers at a time, and then you do the last layer. Corners first, however, does not go layer by layer. It solves all the corners of the cube, which are these sides that are these pieces connected to 3 adjacent sides, and then solves all the edges, which is very interesting. And the inventor of the current method is Jessica Friedrich. Friedrich. How would you pronounce her name, Madhav?
Friedrich.
Okay, Jessica. Jessica
Friedrich.
Friedrich. I don't know if she invented CFOP, but she surely popularized it because we did see that thing, Madhav, right, about the cuber that
Oh,
actually used
yeah.
CFOP first.
Oh, okay, okay. So,
Well, F12 first.
the beginnings of CFOP is actually very fascinating. I read through a bunch of reports from the participants of the first World Championships, which we'll get to talking about that specifically in more detail. But from what I've read from David Singmaster's notes, by the way, David Singmaster's notes are a great reference for this whole thing. He had this cubing circular that he published quarterly, and that was very informative about the state of cubing in 1981 and 82. So apparently, a lot of different cubers, especially many who were at the 1982 World Championships, independently came up with CFOP-like methods. According to David Singmaster, Jessica Frederick was one among multiple people who use layer by layer solving. So it's like she'd do first layer, second layer, and then solve last layer in multiple steps. While there was one competitor at the 1982 World Championships who did actually use I guess, like some form of what we call F2L today, where you form a cross and then form pairs and then insert pairs, and the first two layers are done as one step. His name was Gus Razu Schultz. I'm sorry if
Okay.
I butchered that. I'm not Dutch. Actually, oh, he might be Belgian. I'm so sorry. Gus Razu
That's
Schultz.
staying.
No,
That's
I
staying
saw a
in.
Dutch news article. I
That's
saw a
staying
Dutch
in.
news article talking about him. So I thought he was yeah, my bad.
That's
I
understandable.
apologize.
No
And
problem.
but Gus actually he did an interview for the speed solving wiki that was very interesting and was very informative for this. Um, but as far as I can tell, he's the earliest person documented to have been using full F2L, although I don't
Right.
think he claims to have invented the method. Jessica Frederick's contribution to the method of CFOP was actually the last layer. She was the first person to publish separate OLL and PLL algs. Because before OLL and PLL, the popular approach to last layer was doing ELL and CLL separately, maybe in 2 steps or 4 steps.
Mm.
Um, so it's like you orient the corners, permute the corners, orient the edges, permute the edges.
Yeah.
And that's not, as modern cubers would know, that's not a very reasonable way of doing things. The
Yeah.
algs just aren't suited for speed, especially in 1982 when middle moves such as this would have been basically impossible to do. Um,
Yeah.
Jessica Frederick first she figured out a bunch of these OLL and PLL algs, and then ended and maybe then use a computer to help that along, try to make them better. Um, but that was her big contribution to CFOP. So now CFOP is known as the Frederick method in some parts. At least when I started cubing, it was only known as the Frederick method.
Right. Yeah. And I think the interesting thing about CFOP is just how effective it's been in actually putting the speed part of speed cubing in place. Because in 1982, the first ever competition in the world, or official competition, the Rubik's World Championships, the best solve was 22 seconds, 22.95 by Min Tai. And now in 2024, it's Max Park who has the world record with a 3.13 second single, which even that for people like Madhav and I who've been cubing for like 7 or 8 years, that's still unfathomably fast for 3x3. Like we can't imagine getting solves like that on 3x3. At least I can't. Madhav might imagine that,
Oh,
but
what are
like
you
I don't know
talking
if
about?
he actually gets them. Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
I've
that's
actually got a very good
fine.
imagination. So
Yes,
I just
exactly.
when I solve this cube, I get like a 2 point something, and I'm like, oh, I wish this was a 3x3, and I just imagine that.
The other interesting thing is actually that the first World Championships were mainly conducted as like an advertising campaign for the 4x4 and 5x5.
Sorry,
And
Akshan,
it's
did you say
funny.
4x4 and 5x5? I thought you meant
Yes.
the Rubik's Revenge and the
Oh gosh.
Rubik's Professor.
No. What have
Um,
I done?
Actually,
Yeah.
yeah, this is a pretty well-known fact, but the 4x4 was actually introduced as the Rubik's Revenge Cube, and then a
Mm.
couple of years later, the 5x5 was released as the Rubik's Professor Cube. Don't ask me why it's called Professor. I don't know. The 1982 World Championships was took place right after the release of the Rubik's Revenge, and according to some sources that we've looked at, it seems to have been part of the marketing engine of the Rubik's Revenge,
Yeah.
also known as the 4x4 for modern spade cubers.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, ever since then, it's just been like a cascade of new cubes. Like we have what 16 official events in the WCA now, which we will get to. We will get to how the WCA actually. Did I say 16? I think it's 17. But we will get into how the WCA came into like existence and how it has reached the stage that it's at right now, being one of the biggest and possibly the only prominent cubing organization in the world. I think it's really interesting to see also how just the absolute insanity that occurred in what they call the Dark Ages. Now, the Dark Ages, I'm not referring to the time before humans were able to do like simple cooking and computing and stuff. The Dark Ages are actually the time when the craze for the Rubik's Cube kind of died out, which is fair. I mean, the craze for a lot of things kind of dies out. If you look at memes from 2016, well, they were much better times, but like the memes have pretty much fizzled out now, and the people we used to call boomers, we've kind of become them. So like a lot of things have changed, and I think the Rubik's Cube was no exception to this.
Yeah, to a modern speed cuber, it's kind of hard to imagine what things would be like in a world where things like the Rubik's Cube notation wasn't a standard thing and cubes were hard to get. Um, reading through Jessica Frederick's website, which is still up on Binghamton University's page. Fascinating read, by the way. She lived at a time where the Rubik's Cube was just not available in the Czech Republic, where she's from. Um, so for like 5 6 months after she'd first seen a cube, she like spent time trying to figure out algorithms and trying to figure out a system to solve the Rubik's Cube on paper without having an actual cube. It's like that kind of thing is really hard for us to imagine. We just go for us modern speed cubers who look at the newest GAN cube being produced in China and like, yeah, I'm just gonna order one. It's fine. They're
Yeah.
yeah, because there's cubes everywhere. But it was a different time back then where cubing and cubing resources were scarce. The internet was just was a network between a couple of universities with information being shared in the form of newsletters. A lot of these cubing methods actually predate images being commonly sent over the internet, which is fascinating to me. Another interesting aspect is that a lot of early cubers before 1980, around that time, from 1974 to 1980, were actually really famous mathematicians. Um, this actually I appreciate very specifically because I was reading
Mm.
through David Singmaster. David Singmaster also was, by the way, was the inventor of our current modern Rubik's cube notation. He himself is a mathematician, known for Singmaster's conjecture, which has to do with Pascal's triangle. Great read, by the way.
Mm.
That's a very interesting open problem still. So if
Yeah.
anyone reading this podcast is into maths, maybe try.
Wait, is it a millennium problem?
No, 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 no. It's an
Okay.
open problem though. It's still unsolved.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Okay.
yeah. Anyone reading this, everyone listening to this podcast wants to try their hand at an open problem in combinatorics. Look up Singmaster's conjecture. Great.
Sure.
Um, yeah, like someone like David Singmaster, in his article in his cubing circulars, very casually mentions names like Claude Shannon, um, the father of information theory, um,
Ooh.
and John Conway of Conway's Game of Life, and
Mm.
so many other things. Um, and so many just prolific mathematicians of his time were like you and me, Akshansh, speed
Oof.
cubers. Well, maybe
Yes.
cubers, not
But
speed cubers.
it
But
was speed for their time.
well, yeah, I'm sure they tried their best. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I would destroy John Conway in a 3x3 race. Um,
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
maybe not
Mm.
blindfolded though. Actually, I found a song. This is a huge tangent. Akshansh, feel free to edit this to the end of the thing. But like,
Chill, bro.
um, while reading through David Singmaster's notes, I found a song or poem written by Claude Shannon, again in the the main guy for information theory, and about about the Rubik's cube, where he even he even has some lyrics talking about putting Vaseline in your cubes. Um,
Yeah.
that's
This is
insane.
actually it's a major throwback actually because Madhav, remember that around the time we started cubing like 2016 2017, Vaseline and cubes was pretty, I wouldn't say popular but like it was normal, it was very normal, like
Yeah,
I've used it.
I've known people that used it. I know people that used to
Yeah.
use Live On, the hair
Oh
conditioner,
yes,
on cubes.
the
I
live on
swear,
era of
for like
cubing.
yeah, for like 4 years of my early cubing time, people swore that Live On was better than actual silicone lube,
Yeah.
like Weight Five or whatever. They're like, no, 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 no. You gotta get Live On, the thing that you put in your hair. Ask your mom for a Live On bottle, and then you burn your cubes. It'll be better. I did
Yeah.
that too. It's fine. I'm not gonna lie. There's no
That's
shame in
fair.
that. Claude Shannon did it. Leave me alone.
Okay.
The world of cubing in 1980 was an entirely different one, where where set methods weren't known. People used to figure out their own methods, and the language of cubing was more technical and more mathematical. People referred to it in terms of group theory, and like they call themselves
Yeah.
cubists, which is fascinating, by the
That
way.
is very interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like there's no objective reason that cuber is better, but both I think we all cringe at the term cubist right now.
Yeah. I mean, as a generic term, yes. As like a channel name, it's great. It sounds
Oh
like
yeah,
unique,
yeah, yeah,
right? Cubist. Yeah, it's
yeah,
a great,
yeah.
great
Cubist,
name.
Cubist.
But like it's like saying drummist or
Yeah.
guitarer.
I'm actually quite a guitarer myself.
Oh yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But are you a pianer?
Stop it. Get some help.
So Madhav, speaking about all of these cubes and cubing competitions and famous cubers and mathematicians such as yourself, what do you
Oh,
think about doing a quick 5x5 battle? Winner takes
okay.
all. We put our dignity on the line.
It's already out.
Honestly, I need to get my 5
You're
by
too
5
slow.
one
You're
sec.
too slow.
Madhav and I are now gonna do a 5x5 solve each. Three, two, one, go. It's actually so weird to solve like this, but has to be done.
Not, not gonna lie. I think I don't see colors as well when it's up close.
Yeah, no, same. It's just a little suspicious. Oh no, oh no, dude, my recognition's so off.
That's bad.
Honestly, I think my
Okay.
edges are still fine because it's at least a little more spread out, not like centers.
See, I was doing white. I solved with the Yao method. I was doing uh, white cross, and then I saw one of my cross edges during my during my main edges, and that was not good.
Oh
This,
no. Okay, I'm done.
if you're not aware of the details of 5x5 solving, that's not meant to happen. That's not a good thing. Uh, I
Okay,
got
I got
a
a 101.
I got a 107.92, which is a very
Okay,
bad solve for me.
that is for reference. Madhav averages about 57 seconds on 5 by
Yeah,
5.
that's 10 seconds slower than my normal solve.
Yeah, which is pretty
Apparently, it's
crazy.
like, yeah, it's like for every inch away from your face, you get like, 2.5 seconds speed bonus. Yeah.
Right, that's fair. That was a great cubing segment. I now own your dignity, Madhav.
I'm sure I'll make some records in your heart, Akshansh.
That, thanks, Madhav. There's always place for
I
you
don't
in
know
my
what
heart,
that
Madhav.
means. I'm so sorry.
Honestly,
Uh,
I have no clue. I just played along. Anyway, it's a good
yeah, okay,
segue
cool. That's cool.
because
That's cool.
you know what
Yeah.
else is in my
Hmm.
heart, Madhav?
Yeah. The 1982 World Championships of the Rubik's Cube.
Exactly,
Oh, ho,
exactly.
ho.
Wow, spot on, Madhav. How did you know? Okay, no, but yeah. So the 1982 World Champs were actually quite interesting in much more detail if you think about it. They have a lot more story behind them, and they weren't just a marketing gimmick. They also caused a lot of new opinions, new controversies, new ideas, and I think Madhav, actually, you have an interesting anecdote about this, don't you?
Yeah, I actually do. So, first to introduce what the format was like back then, um, it was actually it was actually nothing like a WCA comp as you'd seen it. So the participants were chosen from national competitions that happened before that are technically are not no not recognized by the WCA. So any solves done in those national competitions did not count towards WCA records. The winner of each country's um, national championship was sent off uh, to the World Championships in 1982, and each participant would do three solves, and the best of those solves were chosen. The timers used for this were actually really weirdly high tech. It was light sensitive plate where you would place the cube on the plate and it would recognize it, and then when you remove the cube from the plate it would start an automatic timer, and
Oh
then
wow.
placing something on the plate again would stop the timer. um
Hmm.
hey, I'm just saying, maybe you should get back to that. Stop relying
Yeah,
on
I
the
mean,
speed stacks, people.
okay. There is a slight thing you have to go work around there, which is I think it's a pressure sensitive plate. It's probably like a piezoelectric plate, which is like for non-engineers listening to this, piezoelectrics are basically materials that convert any mechanical stress, like you pushing it, into electricity, into an electrical signal. So I imagine that's kind of what they use underneath the plates to kind of induce, like, the weight of the cube, and then no weight of the cube starts the
Hmm.
timer, and then weight of the cube stop the time. So if someone puts their hand on the table, Madhav, it might be a bit of an issue.
See,
Or
you're
like if
so correct, but also
Nobody asked.
You didn't ask. This is true.
you're actually true. No. You're actually fully correct. No, I'm sure you could configure it, right? Like, cause like
You could. That's what I'm saying. You
because
could. Yeah, you definitely
piezoelectric,
could.
like they're very like because the way I know about them is from acoustic guitar pickups, where
Yeah.
like piezo pickups are like a different kind of pickup in an acoustic guitar, which like
Yep.
which captures like the whole sound of the string vibrating instead of
Yeah.
normal electric guitar pickups, which don't. They have a different sound. It's like
Yeah. Yeah.
they have a different, yeah, it's a different signal. But I'm just saying, I feel like you could configure it to only get the cube.
I
Honestly,
agree.
this is all conjecture. I don't even think it's a good idea. I just think we should stop using speed stacks timers. They came out with a
Yes,
weird
that's
alien
fair.
looking Gen 5 timer and we're just going with it. Like, what's up?
Yeah, Gen 5 is very interesting as a timer. I don't even I feel like Gen 4 was like nicer in my opinion. So
For
it's kind of
sure,
odd
yeah.
to think of Gen 5 being like the next generation of speedcubing timers, but it's like doesn't feel nearly as nice. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's weird.
Yeah, because they're made for cup stackers.
Yeah, true. They made this
Yeah.
cup
Until
stackers. I
GAN
mean,
makes a cup for
uh,
cup stacking, I don't think I can agree that we should use their timers. If GAN
that's
starts
fair.
making GAN cups, then we're fully one community. You love me, I love you, we're integrated. But until
Yeah,
then, we've got beef.
yeah. It is very interesting actually. That's the speed stacking and speed cubing communities are that close in terms of hardware, but not at all close in terms of like any. Well, it's not true that it's not at all close. There's still like Max Park is a very very good speed stacker. I don't know if you have seen like some of his videos on his channel. He actually just uploads straight up just like cycles of cup stacking. It's pretty insane.
That's
It's
mad to me.
it's actually
How is
mad because he's legendary. He's so cool. Like it's insane.
Max Park is an insanely talented cuber, and he's out here also just stacking cups in his free time.
You know what else he does in his free time, Mother?
Yeah.
He just gets
2048.
he just gets like what?
2048 world records.
Oh, he did that too. I didn't even
Oh,
know.
yeah, yeah.
Wow,
He used to have, well,
that's
I don't know about
amazing.
world record, but he used to speed solve 2048 as well, like the 4x4.
That's
I've seen videos.
insane,
Max
dude.
Park's
What are these
insane.
side
He's so
quests?
cool.
My side quest is literally like go put the trash out today. Don't spill milk on the counter. Like these are my side quests, dude.
Yeah.
What is this?
And, buying eggs.
We didn't have to. For context, Mother thinks I don't like eggs. Like
I've got to explain
eggs
this.
are
I've
eggs
got
are
to explain
I
this.
eat I eat eggs. I eat eggs.
This man lived in America for a whole year and just did not buy eggs. He consumes eggs on a daily basis at home and just chose not to buy eggs for a whole year.
I
Honestly, I respect it. Are you going vegan? No, 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 no. He goes back to
no, I'm
Hyderabad,
not.
eats eggs. That's not the thing. He just refuses to buy eggs for some reason. I don't
Bro, cause
understand what
like
that's about. Eggs are like the easiest food to make.
no, they. I okay. So that's fair, and now I agree with them. I agree with that statement. But okay, in all honesty, I thought eggs take like an hour to like boil and or like fry or like anything. So like I was,
That's
you know what? It's
insane.
too much effort. I will get my protein from other sources such as dal. Guess what? Dal. For those of you that don't know what dal is, I don't know how to explain it. But like it's just a bunch of protein is what I thought, but it's
It's like
not. It turns
lentil.
out it's just
It's
fully not. There's like
yeah,
lentils. Yeah, yeah. Pulses and
dal is
lentils. Yeah,
boiled lentils in a liquid and it turns into mush and it's like it has a
yeah.
very, yeah, it has an interesting consistency.
2 hours later.
Madhav, can we get back on track?
Um,
Let's talk about where were we before
you
we
know
jumped into
Akshansh
the
hates
eggs?
eggs, right? You know what I love? The
Laying eggs.
1982 World Championships for the
Oh
Rubik's
my
Cube,
God! Of
presented
course,
by
Madhav.
Erno Rubik and the Rubik's Cube. I don't actually know what the company's called. I'm so sorry, but we're talking about it. We're talking about it.
Yes.
We talked about the format of the competition, but
Yeah.
it turns out with the weird timers, it was actually also like it was also a fully electric event. I say what? What does that mean? It was a weird with the
People
weird
were
timers. It was
electric
also
then.
a
Yeah.
fully televised event.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but the television, but according to David Singmaster, there were technical issues that interrupted the
Oh.
live broadcast for a bit.
Hmm.
I could find no evidence for it because the only video of it is a 25-minute highlight reel. I don't know how to find the whole tape. I have no idea.
Okay.
Along with the weird timers and the interesting selection process that, thankfully, I think Cubing has never seen afterwards. The cubes that were used in the competition were also brand new Rubik's brand cubes, allegedly selected personally by Erno Rubik, but they were all
Huh.
brand new. Um, which even
Okay.
then, if anyone listening to this has tried a Rubik's brand, you know they're hard to turn. You gotta use your whole hand and put your whole hand into it. And the
Yeah.
first turns you do on it are always rough. They're not made for speed. And according to multiple reports from competitors in that first competition, the cubes that they used were made a massive difference. Um, According to reports from Jessica Frederick and Gus Schultz, the cubes were a lot tougher and harder to turn, giving an unfair advantage to people who used methods that had lower move counts, even if those moves were more awkward and slower to do on other cubes, on normal speed cubes. There's a quote from Jessica Frederick that says that these cubes were not fit for any sort of serious speed cubing,
Hmm.
which is fascinating to me. Imagine today, in the modern day, you go to a competition that like you can't use your GAN 14. Here, have this Rubik's brand that we actually vetted for you. That's insane. Stuff like that doesn't
That is
happen
pretty
anymore,
insane.
and
Yeah.
that's great.
I think it's also cool that it shows like it's not just like the methods of solving that have improved, it's also the hardware. Like if we were solving with Rubik's cubes today, well, actually, there would still be people that are pretty insanely good, but it would still be like a very different scene. And in fact, I don't even know if a lot of these like modern puzzles, like the square one, the Rubik's clock, the like the cube and all of these
Hmm.
puzzles, I don't even know if they would have come up if we didn't have like the advent of faster cubes, because it. I mean, companies like in the early 2000s, companies like Shengshao, VCube, and all of these, they were like the pioneers of cubing technology. And then you came to the 2010s and realized that that wasn't even great technology. Well, for its time, it was great technology. But if you use those cubes now, it's not looking good, bro. It's not like, very cuber friendly in today's day and age.
I actually think the fact that cubing competitions these days are so separated from Rubik's brand itself. Well, obviously Rubik's brand sponsored the World Championships a couple of years ago, and they're now a more active part of the WCA. But but it's not it's an open secret that no one really uses Rubik's brand cubes. Like there's one Rubik's Speed Cube, and but like that's no serious speed cube that actually means the Rubik's Speed Cubes. Um,
Yeah.
but the fact that Rubik's Cube competitions are not controlled by one company and one producer of cubes, I think has been a great thing for cubing hardware and speed cubing as a sport. Because hardware's managed to improve because any company that can come up with a better design and has the money to produce is able to do it. And we find hardware improving very quickly. And
Yeah.
this also led to newer inventions like the 6 and 7, which weren't invented by Erno Rubik.
Yeah.
Although their patents are a bit disputed, I'm not making any legal claims or anything.
Okay, let's not.
But
Yeah.
as far as I know, the first ones in the market were actually VCube ones. And obviously, the Pyraminx and the Megaminx and the Cube were all invented by other great puzzle makers. So the WCA actually being separated from Rubik's has been a great boon for it. I think it made it more general and more free from corporate agendas. The World
Yeah.
Championships is no longer an advertising campaign for the 4x4, and it never will be.
Right. Yes, and I think this is a great segue into the next part of the segment, which is actually the WCA itself, and also the interesting journey of Rubik's, because I heard you mention that the WCA and Rubik's didn't necessarily like hold hands and go through the cubing journey in the early 2000s, but a very interesting thing is that Rubik's kind of realized eventually that speed cubing was becoming a lot more interesting as a hobby than just cubing, and this is kind of obvious, humans speed, we like speed. I'm talking about speed as in like space. So
Of course.
speed cubing is great, and I think the fact that I don't know if you remember, Madhav, Rubik's the World Championships in 2019 were sponsored by Rubik's.
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Rubik's exactly. So they kind of came back, which is really really cool to see. I mean, I think something like that is like very helpful for the community, and the only way to have built such a community is we have the WCA, which is the World Cube Association, basically an organization that regulates everything related to speed cubing in the world, regulates competitions, makes sure to organize them regularly, has different regional organizations they tie up with, they have delegates, they have frameworks, they have databases, they have everything going on, and they try and maintain all of this whole speed cubing world basically in one kind of under one umbrella. And I think the fact that the WCA started all the way in 2003, which is 21 years ago now, which is just ridiculous. Like
Jeez.
it's great. Madhav,
I started in
that's like
2003.
yeah, exactly. You started in 2003. This is like pretty insane. It's you are the WCA, Madhav. Um,
Damn.
yes. We know we often make the joke that Madhav is the reason because only once the WCA got established in 2003, I think it was founded by Ron Van Brooklyn and Tyson Mao. So of course, I'm not sure how many people know about. Well, people should know about Ron Van Brooklyn. I think he also invented ZBLL, if I'm not wrong. He came up with a little bit of ZBLL. I'm not.
Yeah, he was one of the two
Yeah,
people that
Swarovski
is
and Brooklyn,
credited
right?
for
Exactly.
ZBLL. Yeah.
Yeah, Swarovski and Broken. Yeah, so like he is single-handedly one of the biggest images in like cubing. One of the biggest people to have like pioneered the actual advent of speed cubing in the 2000s. So he is also probably a reason they added a lot more puzzles to the WCA, which is pretty cool. And today, as of now in June 2024, can you guess how many speed cubers there are in the world, Madhav?
Um, I actually had no context for this. I was not prepared. I would say like 50,000. I have no idea, but I'd say
50,000
more
is
than 50,000.
Yeah, that's that. Okay, your answer is not technically incorrect. More than 50,000 is correct, but it is quite far off from the actual number. The actual number is 224,000.
That's so. Wait, what?
Yeah, it's wild. And the really cool thing is actually the role that the pandemic played in speedcubing. Because before the pandemic, 2019, we only had about 140,000, which is 100K less. Speedcubing has grown
That's
basically
insane.
like 4 or 5x in the last few years. This is pretty insane, and that's another podcast episode on its own, just talking about the effect of the pandemic on cubing. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty cool to see how like it started off with the WCA, the idea of having a community of cubers and having everything regulated started off in like MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, very famous reputed university. Highly recommend. I don't go there, I just recommend it. But in July 1980, there was the MIT Cube Lovers mailing list, which is like one of it's similar to David Singmaster's letters that he talked about, or his
Yeah.
quarterly cubing articles, because it was
Yeah. Cubing
basically
circulars.
what
Yeah.
they yeah, cubing circulars. It's basically what they started, where they started talking about solving methods and like the math behind cubing within MIT. And it basically led to like after the dark ages, people kind of got reminded of it, and they're like, you know what, we should make this a bigger thing. And fun fact, Madhav, you probably know this, but like because we talked about it yesterday, but the the Rubik's Cube had a video game. I don't know if you know this.
Yeah, you mentioned this, but like I didn't really. Yeah, that's. I don't understand how that would work.
Yeah, honestly, me neither. But I highly recommend people go check it out. I think they were called like the Rubik's games. Yeah, it was like a CD game, so I don't even know if like a pirated version or something's available. It came out in 1999, which is before either of us came out. Then in
We don't.
2000,
By the way, we don't. We're not telling you to go pirate games. That's not what we're saying.
no, no,
But
no, whoa, whoa,
if
please,
you can find Rubik's Game CD-ROM
yes,
available online anywhere
yes.
through legal means, of course, you
Through
should
legal means,
check it
of
out.
course. I think very important. Yes, 100%. Um, and then in 2000, which is the next year, it was Chris Hardwick actually. Chris Hardwick basically created the Yahoo speed solving forums. Imagine having forums on
Yahoo.
Yahoo. Like I have
I bet there
no
are
idea what that
cubers
would be
these
like.
days who don't even know what Yahoo is. Like,
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah,
because Yahoo is old to me, and I'm 21 years old. I've been on the internet for quite a bit, and Yahoo
yeah,
still is ancient to me.
yeah. No, it is pretty crazy. And I think to them it would be Yahoo question mark, not Yahoo exclamation mark. Okay, that was a bad joke. That was a bad joke. Why am I doing this to myself? No. Anyway, then
I thought it was funny.
he
I thought it was funny.
thanks, Madhav. I appreciate that. Then, Chris Hardwick went on to release, I think it was speedcubing.com. Let me make sure I'm getting the name right. Yeah, it was speedcubing.com, which was actually the first like website dedicated to speedcubing stats and speedcubing rankings and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. And this led to a lot of communication between people like Chris Hardwick and Ron Van Brockum and many other people actually who came together to organize the next World Championship after 1982, which was in 2003. And since Madhav was there, they had to organize it in Toronto, Canada. I don't know why I said that. You're not even born anywhere near
I
Canada.
was,
But anyway,
yeah, I was
um,
born in Hyderabad. So I was in
India,
Hyderabad, so they decided to organize a competition in Toronto, Canada.
Toronto, Hyderabad. Anyway,
Toronto, Canada, Hyderabad, because Canada is in Hyderabad, of
yes,
course.
yes, of course. Can you guess how many competitors we had at the second World Championships in 2003? For reference, the last World Championships, I believe, had upwards of 1,500 competitors.
I don't know what the cubing scene was like at the time, but maybe like 30?
Close. It's 89 actually, which is interesting. Like
Eighty-nine.
they already had quite a few. But Madhav, this is World Championships. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And one of the organizers of the World Championships was actually Ron Van Brockum, who is one of the co-founders of the WCA as we know it today. So Ron then decided that okay, I need to start bringing cubing to the rest of the world, right? We don't just want to stay in NA, we want to go around the world. And so he brought cubing to the Netherlands. Dutch, the Dutch Open 2003 was born, and the Dutch Open was actually one of the first actual, speed cubing competitions that wasn't like a major world scale competition. Of course, it probably was still attended by all the like prolific cubers of the world at the time, but even then, it's fine. Like people from Delhi come to Hyderabad Cube Open all the time. It's still, but Tyson Mao, who is the other co-founder that I referred to, then started speaking with him, and then he said, "Okay, I need to bring it to the U.S. as like a regional thing, as a national thing." And so the first competitions in the US were, of course, at Caltech, which kind of makes sense. A lot of firsts in the US happened at Caltech. So yeah, they brought it to Caltech, and that is where the WCA set off. That is where cubing started getting more standardized, started having regular competitions, we started having regulations, guidelines, and now the WCA is a massive, massive organization with more than, I think it's more than 14 committees, teams, etc. Like we have a lot of people in the WCA. And every single cuber, every single speed cuber that's registered with the WCA, which you have to do if you want to attend an official competition, it's free, don't worry. But every single cuber is also a part of this huge community, and it's really cool to see a community that's basically created by a bunch of cubers, right? At its grassroots, it's all just cubers, speed cubers that are passionate about cubing, who come together and create this community and have like everything just working within it. It's pretty cool to see. And that's basically what's grown into speedcubing today, which I think is one of the coolest journeys for hopefully a sport, soon to be a recognized sport, um, that's ever been. Like, I think it's really cool to see something that started off with math, which is now just a lot of fun and it's a lot of like activity. That's not just for your brain. Like, you just include yourself, you engage yourself with so many different ideas of puzzle solving. And I think that's one of the most beautiful transitions is taking something from math to not math. Sorry, Madhav. I realize that's a very offensive thing to say to you,
That's deeply offensive. That's I
but I
hate
love
that you've
physics.
said that.
I'm
But
sorry. So, guys, it's the end of the Puzzle People podcast. No, I'm kidding.
oh wait,
Sorry.
okay. Bro,
Sorry,
bro.
Sana.
I get what you mean. Like the journey of the Rubik's Cube from being something that was a puzzle whose secrets were shared among mathematicians in, letters that we won't be able to find now.
Hmm.
To the most popular toy in the world, according to some sources that we've seen, is
Yeah.
insane. Um,
Yeah.
Honestly, like Erno Rubik invented this as a teaching tool for his students to teach them about architecture, and now
Yeah.
like or nearly like now 50 years after that, we're standing here,
Yeah.
solving it and speed solving it, and with the hope that it becomes a popular, fully recognized sport.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. And I think it shows you that you should follow your ideas because at the end of the day, ideas become reality. Well, I don't know. I feel like I got that off some cat poster, but like cat posters are cool. Um, yeah. So yeah, oh,
Yeah,
happy 50th anniversary to Speedcubing.
that's
To the
true.
Rubik's Cube, I should say. I think we've covered basically all the bases we wanted to for this episode. So, Madhav, if you don't have anything more to add, I think we should get into the final segment of this podcast, which
That
is
is
going to be
true.
fun.
That is true.
What do you say?
I think we should go into it.
Okay. Welcome to the music review segment of this podcast. Shout out to Anthony Fantano again. I won't shout him out every episode. That could be kind of like he doesn't need it. He's like way bigger. Who am I to shout him? Anyway, so
Okay,
uh
yeah.
the idea is that every episode we have 5 songs and it'll be a 3-2 split between Madhav and I, and we'll keep alternating every week. So we're gonna recommend 5 songs and we're gonna try to stay on theme with the podcast. It won't always happen because sometimes you might be talking about like group theory, and unless you have like 5 songs about group theory, this
I've
might
got
not
so
work
many
out.
songs about group theory. Fully
Madhav,
not a
that's
joke.
kind of
I've got a
concerning
playlist.
actually.
I've got a
You've got a
playlist.
playlist for group theory. I've got a playlist for
Yeah, actually.
polyrhythms. That's like the closest thing I can get to
That's
math.
cool. Yeah, that's cool.
But
That's
okay,
cool.
okay, that's fair. That's fair. Madhav and I both music nerds, so like it works out, I guess. So okay, let's start. Also, quick reminder: you can find this playlist on Spotify. I will link it in the description below. Go add it to your libraries to get 5 new songs every week, and I promise they're all bangers. And I think Madhav cannot deny that either because we only listen to bangers. So the first song I will be recommending is a very very nice, melodious, peppy, upbeat, and it's an interesting storyline. It's called Breakfast at Tiffany's. Now, this is not like if you listen to music from this generation. Also, all of these songs are going to be like the 80s, 90s kind of generation or that era of music. If you listen to music from them, then you definitely know this song. I think the original recording is even older, but like Breakfast at Tiffany's by Deep Blue something, absolute banger, and I highly recommend you listen to it when you're on a drive or like when you're out with your actually when you're out with your friends. Don't listen to music, like interact with them, but unless you listen to music together, it's a
Hey,
great song and it puts you in
Akshansh,
great
what are
spirits.
you saying? We literally listen to music together all the time. That's the main way we
This is
hang
true.
out.
This is true. Sometimes it gets kind of creepy if we don't have music going on because we can hear our thoughts, which is like when we're cubing, we don't want to hear our thoughts. It kind of distracts from the song.
The enemy of good solves is the thoughts in your head, bro. You just don't think and you get good solves. That's how it works.
Fact, fact, fact.
My first song is actually a very popular one, but I picked it because it came out in 1982 while while the World Championships were going on, which is
Mm,
Sweet Dreams brackets are made of this by
mm.
Eurythmics. I'm
Yeah.
sure you've heard the song, but it's honestly a song that I've loved for many years. It's great.
Mm,
It's got a very interesting tone, and um, it's a song that has a vibe that is very hard to replicate in other songs. It's got this upbeat vibe, but it also feels dark in a way that's very satisfying. It's a great
mm.
song. It's very popular.
Yeah.
I don't have to tell you much about it.
The thing you mentioned about it being dark is actually a very like it's kind of one of those dark songs that actually doesn't make you feel sad. It still
Yeah,
makes you
exactly.
feel like hype. You get the hype, but you're like, hmm. Okay. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's got it has the same feeling as many goth songs, but it's obviously
Yeah.
not goth.
I mean yeah,
Uh,
yes,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But like, it
Yeah.
makes it has a it's dark in a way that gets you pumped up in a way a lot of goth songs are
Mm,
with like a driving bass line. It's very cool. It's a good song. Very
yeah.
good song.
Speaking of driving bass lines, a very, very famous band from that generation is Toto. I'm sure everyone here has heard of Toto. If you haven't heard of Toto, please go listen. You've probably heard Africa by Toto, one of their most popular songs, absolute classic banger. But the one I'm recommending today is not Africa by Toto. It is actually the song called Hold the Line. Hold the Line is such a catchy song. It's got a great hook, it's got a great chorus, and it's got an amazing, like, such a memorable melody. And I highly recommend it. It's basically club bangers before clubs were invented. That's what it is. It's a club banger. Um, but I would not play it in the club because, like, it's a little old school. But, like, yeah, it's the theme of the podcast. So, yeah, Hold the Line by Toto. Absolute banger, 10 out of 10.
My second pick for this playlist of this week was a bit of a weird one. Um, you know, because I felt like we're
Mm,
going with the 80s theme and we're going like a lot of the other songs are sticking with the 80s theme, but here I wanted to, branch out and pick a song that kind of feels like what the World Championships theme to me. Um, it's called
hmm.
Game Shows Touch Our Lives by The Mountain Goats. Um,
was such a
because
good setup.
because
I
I'm
like
just
that.
saying, uh, the World Championships,
True.
the way that they were set up, were very much a game show. They were on TV. They were on TV, and it was a competition, and it had participants from all over the world. And the way that it was set up, and the vibe that you get when you try to watch the highlights, is a very game show vibe. And in the song, okay, this song is from a concept album that is very much not about game shows. It's actually about a feeling relationship. um, the
Hmm.
Mountain Goats are a prolific band. They're one of my favorite bands of all time. They make very cohesive albums.
Hmm.
it's got one consistent vibe, and they're
I like albums like that.
always good. Um,
Yeah.
Game Shows Touch Our Lives though is a song um about people's relationships, but it's on this playlist because it's a great song, and it reminds you of the feeling that you get when you watch game shows, when you watch old recordings of game shows that happened
Hmm.
like 30, 40 years ago, where this kind of culture of old school game shows is kind of dead. We don't really do that anymore, and the World Championships kind of feel like that to me.
Hmm.
It's an artifact of a time that I was never alive for. um
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
it's
deep.
a great
That's
song,
pretty
and you
deep.
should listen to
Yeah.
it. It's a
Yep.
bit sad though, but it's great. It's a good song.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, hey, Madhav, there is no happiness without sadness. Sadness is what makes happiness happy. Well, it doesn't make
That's true.
happiness happy. It makes happiness happiness. But anyway, the last song that I will be recommending is again a very famous artist. So I haven't gone for very obscure artists, but I will say I haven't gone for their most popular songs, which is why I think it's interesting. So the artist is Billy Joel. I'm sure everyone knows who Billy Joel is. Piano Man, Vienna. Like there's so many good. I can just name a lot of good songs. This one is called "We Didn't Start the Fire." It is pretty popular, but there's a very good chance you haven't. Madhav, have you heard this song?
I've heard the song.
We'll just pretend that didn't happen. It's a very good chance you haven't heard this song. It's it's one of his I wouldn't say less known, but like less listened to songs, less played on the radio, kind of. At least, and obviously no one plays in 2024, but you should. Absolute banger.
Yeah, in the modern day,
Billy
it's not.
Joel. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's
Yeah,
a song that's of the time, and Fall Out
yeah,
Boy actually
exactly.
has a cover of it for the modern day. I'm just saying,
Yes,
just
I know this one.
putting this
Yes.
out there for people who
Yep,
like
yep.
Fall Out Boy. Go listen to Fall Out Boy. It's good. Listen to
Yep,
make
yep.
songs.
Yeah, true. Emo phase part. Well, I'm still in the emo phase. No part two. But anyway, yeah. But oh no, this song's really good. Billy Joel has great, his like articulation in songs. Dude, his lyrics are some of like the most beautiful lyrics out there, and they're like so simple but so impactful. And of course, he just plays like a bunch of instruments. I think he's a multi instrumentalist. I've obviously seen him play the piano, but anyway, definitely go listen to it. And I think with that, we wrap up the music review segment. Today's songs, again, you can find them on Spotify. Link in the description. Go check out the playlist, add it to your libraries, and follow Madhav and I on Spotify. Madhav has some amazing. Madhav, are your playlists public? Or
All
are
of them,
some of them
every
public?
single one of them,
Every
even
single
the
one of
weird
them.
ones.
Beautiful. Good. Okay. Go follow Madhav and I on Spotify. Madhav's got some extremely nice, weird playlists. I've got some. Well, my public ones aren't as weird, but like I think that's why Madhav's profile is more interesting. So go check it out. And yes, add the playlist to your library, and we'll have 5 new songs for you every week. I think Madhav, you have something to say.
Oh, follow me on Spotify for the best gym playlist you've ever seen.
Oh my
Pure strength.
God, guys,
Literally,
I don't know
listening to
about
that
this one.
playlist makes you stronger, even if you're not working out. It's yeah, it's great.
Cool. On that note, thank you so much for listening or watching if you're on YouTube. Hello if you're on YouTube. Please, yes, do subscribe to the channel. Go check out Madhav's channel. Hit like and yes, thank you so much for watching slash listening. See you in the next one. Goodbye. Madhav, don't do it again. Madhav, just say bye. Madhav. Okay. Okay, that's good enough.
Okay, we'll stop that. You gotta cut it before I